This is Pastor Steele. Welcome to another edition of Still Strong Podcast. I'm sitting here with my three sons.
What's up? I'm Isaiah Steele.
Hey, what's up? I'm Isaac Steele.
I'm Irish Steele. What's up, y'all?
And it's been, 90 plus days since we had an opportunity to come into the studio, between him being booked and busy like Usher on tour and, us doing things here at the church. We finally had a time to get back on track, to get things back going how they have been going here at Still Strong Podcast. We've got a lot to catch up on today. We're going to obviously try to keep it within an hour, but let's start with first things first. Y'all know us, football. It's faith family football in our family and at our church. So we want to start with the NFL season first. Right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are sitting at 2-0. We are at the top of the AFC North, and we've got teams like the Ravens that are 0-2. We've got the Bengals that just lost a big game to the Chiefs this past Sunday, which the Chiefs got away with another one. We know how that goes. America loves the Chiefs, and all the Taylor Swift, the Swifties out there, they love Travis Kelce and them boys. But they're 1-1. And then, of course, the Cleveland Browns, who cares about them? I'm sorry, they're 0-2. And you look at the fact of the Cleveland Browns, who cares about them? So at the end of the day, we've got a lot of stuff to kind of talk about, but I really want to start with y'all opinion on this Bryce Young situation. You got to remember he was number one draft pick just 2 years ago, just 24 months ago, to the Carolina Panthers. And after 2 weeks this season, he gets benched. What do you all think that does for him, his character, his confidence, things in that situation?
Well, I told you guys a couple of years ago that I would have took the kid from Ohio State, which is, of course, C.J. Stroud, that's his name?
Yep.
Yeah, I saw him his junior year, and to me, he was just phenomenal. And so I shared with y'all during the draft, I'm like, man, that Bryce Young, he don't have that it factor.
I remember.
Yeah. And I'm standing on that even right now, you know. Hopefully he'll grow and develop, but he might have to go somewhere and get a new start. Now, I will say this in his defense: his team is crappy.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I mean,
the organization,
or from top to bottom.
Yeah, you see, they're already wearing bags on their heads. And
Are you serious?
Yeah, they need to relocate.
Oh,
this
my
week too.
God.
They need to relocate.
Man, and then who's going to be in there now?
The Red Rifle, man, Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton, he's still in the league.
Andy Dalton,
that's crazy.
Oh my God, he used to be with the Bengals.
The Bengals,
He went to the Cowboys. He done moved around a little bit.
I was dying earlier. I was watching a podcast, and somebody was like, "Who's the quarterback now for the Panthers?" And this guy said, "The Red Rocket." And they said, "Who's the Red Rocket?" And the dude said, "Oh, I meant Red Rifle." But he's the quarterback now for the Panthers.
Man, we're going to see how that works. They might need to go get Cam.
Scam Newton. Bring him back home. Bring him back to Carolina.
It's funny you even mentioned that. News today, Cam Newton was spotted at Miami Dolphins practice.
What?
Now, they're saying they don't know if he was there just hanging out and talking to the fellas. Maybe he made lunch. Maybe he brought a sandwich for somebody.
What?
But we all know with Tua's situation, him being down, he was spotted just yesterday at Miami Dolphins practice. That's legit.
Who's that coach in Miami?
Mike McDaniels.
I can see him doing that.
Yeah.
I can see him doing that. I'm not gonna say the rumors are true, but I could definitely see him picking up Cam Newton.
My God.
I can see that.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a out of the box type of coach anyway already. Look at his playbook. I could see him doing that.
I got a question for y'all. Do you go with Cam Newton or Joe Flacco?
Man, listen, Joe looked good last year.
I'm going Joe Flacco.
Joe looked good last year. The reason why I say yes to Joe, I know Joe's going to go in there. He's going to do his job.
Sure.
He might doze off on the sideline. I don't know if y'all saw that last year.
He went to sleep last year.
That dude was dozing off. Them warm benches will do something to you because
they got the jets right on the side too, keep you warm.
He's dozing off. He wake up and throw a touchdown.
Right.
And we know, but he's a proven winner. He's a Super Bowl champion.
Right.
Older guy, but he's you could tell he's a rah locker room guy. Look, let's just get up. Now with Cam, it comes with the glitz and the glamour and the tweets, and we already know his podcast after the game. He might do a podcast in his pads. You know what I'm saying? So like, as an organization, you got to kind of be open if that's something you want to deal with. So I say Joe.
I'll go on Joe.
Yeah, they might have to make a trade for Joe because Joe's in Indianapolis. He's Anthony Richardson.
Is he still playing?
Yeah, he's on the backup for Anthony Richardson. But but back to the whole Tua situation and the whole Bryce Young situation. Sorry, I feel bad for Bryce Young. I think he got put in a terrible position. I think if you put, and CJ Stroud's great, but like if you look at the pieces he has, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, Larry Tunsil, great O-line, great defense, great coaching.
Not to mention a great city,
Exactly,
Houston.
great city.
Houston.
I think if you put C.J. Stroud in Carolina, they don't win more than 5 games. They're definitely better because Stroud is better than Young.
Yeah.
But if you look at just the people he throwing to us, basically, he got no.
Yeah,
who's the best receiver he really had?
Adam Thielen, bro.
Adam
Like,
Thielen.
I got
he
half
washed
a
up.
right hamstring right
Yeah,
now.
like
Yeah.
he's throwing to Adam Thielen. O-line's terrible. He has no time. So, I feel like even a great quarterback like C.J. Stroud could go to Carolina and they're not winning.
Flop.
They're not winning a lot of games. I wouldn't say flop. I don't think benched, but it'll be kind of like Stafford in Detroit back in the day.
Yeah.
Kind of like empty
Got it.
I feel
stats.
it.
Like he's
Got
cooking, but they're not winning.
Yeah.
So, I just hope Bryce Young gets a new start. And I just don't like how the Panthers went by the whole situation.
And it's only been a year and a half. Well, not even a year and a
It
half.
hasn't even been. It's
Well,
been.
the
It's
way-
been. It's
what
been
the-
a season and 2 games.
Literally.
Yeah, that's jacked. That's Loki jacked up.
And the reason why the way they're justifying it is because it's a new coach, new GM. They basically said Bryce was never our guy in the first place. We didn't draft him. We didn't say y'all should draft away all these good guys to go get him.
Jeez.
That was the last organization, the last front office.
That's how I
and so,
felt when Gill and them got fired. Remember
exactly. Well, you know how it
Gill
is.
and them resigned.
We've seen
Remember?
it with
I got did dirty like that.
with Isaac. He was
Yeah.
at Liberty. They had a whole coaching staff that was there, loved him, and we loved the school. And then they had a good season, won a bowl game, and then that next year they all bounced. It was just like it
Turner, Gill.
was a wrap.
And then the new coaches who came in were like, "We didn't recruit you.
Yeah,
they
we
didn't
don't know you."
give a crap about me at that point. They were
It's
bringing
like-
in guys
it's-
from Ole Miss.
It's like
and whatnot.
moving into somebody. It's like moving into your dream home, but it's a whole bunch of other people's furniture. You know what I'm saying?
Low key.
You like, I didn't pick this
right.
couch, man. Let's throw this couch away. Even
Yeah.
though that couch is nice and been there and has had provided sleeps for people, and
Sure.
Right.
comfortability, and
All of that.
They want a leather couch though. They want to get rid of the old cotton one, throw that out in the backyard.
Yeah.
Right.
So same
That's how it is.
situation.
God.
But I agree with you, Ira. I think a year and 2 games is not fair. Basically, you had 2 head coaches in that time, and then on top of that, as a rookie, you're 24-year-old kid, 25-year-old kid.
Yep.
That can mess up with your. I mean, we can tell by how he played. He had no confidence out there.
Yeah.
So that mess you up.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see.
Yeah,
You know.
and Tom Brady just a few weeks ago was just remember on that podcast saying like, what happened to the development of guys? What happened to letting somebody develop? What happened to giving them time? Now it's
Right.
like if you don't perform halfway through the season, you're out. It's
Yeah.
kind of messed up because back in the day they would let you develop.
Oh man, I
Yeah.
watched John Elway and all those guys. They gave them that opportunity to go out there and make a whole bunch of mistakes. Peyton Manning.
Yep, he
and
led the
list
league in
goes
picks.
on. Yeah, led the league in picks, and now he's obviously a Hall of Famer.
Honestly, I
Right.
think that the Panthers are freaking out so much too because of how good C.J. Stroud's been playing. Like the ownership, on an ownership level, they're probably looking down like, what the heck, man?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and they gave up a lot to the Bears to get that number 1 pick.
Yeah.
So y'all gave up a king's ransom for Bryce Young just for the guy that went next after him to be tearing up the league.
Yeah.
Probably might win the MVP this year, straight up.
Yeah,
I
Loki
wouldn't-
could have won last year.
I wouldn't be shocked if the Texans get to the Super Bowl. They're that good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if we see Stroud win an MVP potentially and do a deep playoff run, while on the other end we out here got the red Rocket. We got him leading our
Jeez.
charge.
Red Rocket.
The Red Rocket.
And the guy that we gave up everything for is not even on the field. So
Yeah.
I can see from how an ownership level, because they got rid of the GM, they got rid of the head coaches, OCs, quarterback coaches, like they clean house. And I know they're kicking themselves in the head.
Yeah, it's
about
kind of
not
like
grabbing Stroud.
it's kind of like the girl that got away. You know what I mean? Like you let's say you meet 2 girls at the same time freshman year, and you pick one. You like, I'm with her, even though old girl, I'm gonna let her. But come senior year, old girl done developed a little bit better.
a little
you
bit
know?
better,
Maybe the other one done put on a couple and got a crazy attitude.
Right.
The girl is prom queen. You looking. Now you on your girl. Hey, have you been going to the gym? You been eating right? You trying to encourage her because you trying to keep up with what you could have had. So I feel you on that on what you mean
That's
about
also
that.
too hot take. You put Bryce Young right now on the Texans team, they win 10+ games. I'm telling you this right now. I think Bryce Young, because think about it. If you look at him at Alabama, he was throwing to Devontae Smith, Henry Ruggs.
Yeah, he was throwing dogs.
He was throwing to, who else was he throwing to? Jamison Williams.
Yep.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of guys. Jameer Gibbs at running back. Like, he had dudes.
Yeah, he had
all
dogs.
So,
Oh, yeah.
So I
and
feel
a
like
phenomenal line.
exactly. So I feel like if you put him in that situation in Houston, the way he plays, he's more of like, he's like a point guard almost. Dinking and dunking, but at the same time, he can get the ball downfield, accurate, good decision maker. You put him with Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, good old line, and actually a team and a franchise that is, trusting him, and he has that confidence. I think he would be doing just fine in Houston right now.
Yeah.
Not on Stroud's level, but good.
Yeah.
And last thing on Bryce Young's defense, bro, look at the coaching. Let's look at the play calls.
It was the
Think of
coaches.
this, like Tua, he didn't even really have a career like that in college, but goes to the NFL. Look what the Dolphins coach has done for him. You know, little dink and dunk, but still taking shots to Tyreek. They need to look into picking up Bryce, in my opinion.
I mean, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
I feel like that system would work for Bryce Young for sure, especially with Tua's playbook.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It would low-key work.
Because I will say, although, like you said, I think Bryce is good. He's not as gifted as a Stroud. He's not as gifted as, some of these guys that came out and just, the 6'5", big arm. He's, like Ira said, he's a point guard.
Yeah.
And there in Carolina, I feel like they were forcing him to be a three-ball guy.
LeBron.
Be LeBron, but that's not his game. He's slant, 5 and out, digs, comeback, stuff like
and
that.
that opens up the deep shot.
It does when you need it.
Yeah, when you need it.
But I feel like he didn't get a fair shade. It's unfortunate. I'm pretty sure if I was his agent and his father, we getting out of Carolina as soon as possible. I'm on the phone today. Get me out of the Queen City, as they call it, and keep it pushing. But just to keep on going with the NFL, the Arizona Cardinals are headed to the Super Bowl. I don't know if y'all heard. Boy, they whooped up on the Rams this past Sunday, and people are on fire out here. I have not seen this many Arizona Cardinals shirts in my life.
Man.
At the gym, at the car wash, at church, I'm seeing these people coming out the woodworks. So they got a big game this week. I'm not sure who. I think it's the Detroit Lions here in the
they got
Valley.
the Lions.
Oh, wow.
Should be a good, pretty good matchup because the Lions have been rolling as well.
Yeah, they have.
Which is weird to see because in my 32 years of life, I have never seen until last year them ever make a playoff game.
Facts.
Yeah.
And then go out there and win it.
Yeah.
So the
Should've
Cardinals,
won too, but
it
let's not
should have
go there.
been.
Let's not go there.
That's a whole nother situation.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for the NFL season. Really quick before we transfer over to college football. Really quick, right now, after week 2, who are y'all Super Bowl picks? AFC champion, NFC champion this year, if you had to shoot from the hip right now, week 2.
Chiefs are going back. I see the Chiefs going back. And, man, I tell you what,
Wide open.
the Detroit Lions.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They kind of goofed that game up last year.
Yeah.
Coaching, the coach blew that. He
Big time.
He became too much of a risk taker.
Yeah.
And if they should have been a Super Bowl. So I can see the Chiefs and the Detroit Lions.
Okay.
I was gonna say Lions, and man, the Super Bowl that was supposed to be last year, Lions Ravens, bro. I hate to be that guy, man. We not Super Bowl ready yet.
Yeah.
You never know, but we not Super Bowl ready yet. I'll keep it real. If I had to pick, I'm going Lions Ravens.
So you Ravens over the Chiefs, huh?
Yeah, I think the Ravens bounce back and get them.
Oh,
Dude,
wow.
I'm a Lamar believer. I ain't no Ravens fans. They calls me a traitor.
Hey, man,
I'm not a traitor.
Now we just don't like how the media and the NFL teams did Lamar in the pre-draft process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember that 10
Yes.
teams said run routes. Then you had GM saying, "Oh, well, he has a country accent. We don't know if they can hear him in the huddle."
They said that?
Yes.
Yes,
They don't know if they can do
Oh.
They don't know if they can do audibles clear, so stuff like that.
After what he did at Louisville?
Yes.
And
In
they made
high school?
Yes.
But
Still doubting
they
him.
saying because he talked kind of funny.
Because
Sure, he does.
he's from the
He
country.
needs to work on that.
But still, though, he's from the country. But the fact that he's
Sure.
gonna say, "Oh, we don't know if the players are gonna understand him," even though 80% of the roster from the country.
I was getting ready to say 80% of that huddle was black.
That's and from the
100%.
country.
They
too,
speak
not
the
from
same
the
language.
not even
Everybody,
from the
all of them
West
speak
Coast.
Ebonics.
Listen,
Yeah.
they was talking about yes, sir, Boston ran out there.
Yeah, so I don't like how they did Lamar. So
Yeah, they
I'm
did
rooting
him
for
dirty.
Yeah, that's why
Yes.
I root for Lamar. Same reason why, dude.
But,
Same reason.
but man, I would say I would say the Chiefs, but they're hurt. Hollywood Brown's hurt. Isaiah Pacheco's on the IR.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Kelsey not looking the same, but
Man.
Kelsey he heats it up. Through
Yeah,
the
he
playoffs.
gets going.
Yeah.
But I would say I think
Rasheed
coming
Rice
out
look good though. Sorry.
Who?
Yeah.
Rasheed Rice.
Yeah, Rasheed Rice
He
is
looks
good.
nice.
I'd say Houston comes out. I think Houston comes out because their defense, man. I watched them against the Bears, man. Caleb Williams looked like he was in hell, like literally in hell.
I felt bad.
And defense wins championships. So I would say Texans. I would say the Ravens, but they're starting off slow, and I don't like their OC either. But I would say the Texans, and on the other side, man, that's hard. But even speaking of defense, and I might say Detroit, because Detroit should have made it last year.
They should have.
And I watched Hutchinson, their edge rusher last week, had 5 sacks against Tampa. And Tampa has a good old line. They have one of the best linemen in the NFL. And Hutchinson still had 5 sacks. Of course, you got Montgomery, Gibbs, St. Brown, Jameson Williams. He's coming along too.
Yeah.
Jared Goff, clearly, he has my fantasy quarterback. He's clearly showed y'all that he can do something.
Yeah.
He's they try to send him to Detroit
great.
to die. So I rock with Goff too, because I saw what they tried to do to him.
Yeah.
So man, I would say Detroit and Houston and New Orleans. NBC Kendrick at halftime. Hopefully he brings out Lil Wayne. That'd be cool.
Detroit and Houston.
Man, that's actually
Detroit,
a great
Houston,
matchup.
man.
That's gonna, hey man, that's gonna be a dangerous weekend in New Orleans.
Oh my goodness.
Careful. I'll be honest with you.
be careful out there.
Right, be careful in New Orleans. But I would love to see those 2 teams make it. Somebody different.
Yeah,
Something
Houston,
different.
Detroit.
I'm
That's
sick of
actually a good
Niners Chiefs. Like
matchup.
even last year, Niners Chiefs, I wasn't excited for the game.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, it's just like the same. We just saw this in 2021 or 2020. Like,
Well, I'll tell you what, the
same old
Niners
thing.
the Niners look real human this past Sunday against the Vikings. So
Sure did.
I think even with their injuries are piling
that's what I'm
up.
saying.
You got Debo out, you got McCaffrey out.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
Not to
fall
mention, just like Trent Williams, a lot of off-season drama and stuff like that. So
Brandon
I don't-
Ayuk didn't even do fall camp, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Things like that.
he out there dropping balls.
Yep.
So I
Trent
don't-
Williams still trying to get back in shape. I'm praying for that
Yeah,
brother every
that's-
day.
yeah.
He had to get
so
an IV a
I
couple
thought
weeks
he was
ago.
gonna die week 1.
That was
He took the whole. He didn't know OTAs, training camp,
And
nothing.
then trying to come regular season.
He did good for the first 3 quarters, but that 4th quarter he struggled.
Yeah.
In my opinion, man, my picks are one of my picks is gonna surprise you, but I think out of the AFC, I could definitely see the Houston Texans coming out.
Okay.
Barring injury, I'd like the way they play. They're aggressive on defense. I like their head coach. He's defensive minded, and then Stroud got them boys, doing what he want to do. And he's definitely probably one of the most mature second-year quarterbacks I've ever seen.
Oh, for sure.
Just from his leadership standpoint and his knowledge of the game. Just a real smart kid. So I could see Houston coming out of the AFC. And coming out of the NFC, man, I got the home team. I got New Orleans Saints coming out.
They balling.
The way they
rolling.
look these last 2 weeks and how they went to Dallas and embarrassed
I saw
the
that.
Dallas Cowboys
They
this
rolling.
past Sunday.
I watched that
35 points before at halftime
Yeah.
is something that you do on the Xbox or a PlayStation.
Yeah.
They did
ain't
this to
college.
real
That's
life.
impressive NFL.
That's impressive.
Super impressive.
For college, for college,
And you
Very.
in their house. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It wasn't
in
like it was just a
Dallas.
game off
Yeah.
of emotion and
Right.
the home crowd. Like they went to Dallas and whooped them boys, got back on the
Yeah.
plane. And I don't know if y'all saw, they had the parade afterwards in Dallas. They had the trumpets and the tubas and the people with the umbrellas. New Orleans
What?
showed up
No
in Dallas.
way.
They were there. They were there.
Oh, that's cool. That's
So
cool.
I'm rooting
I
for
didn't know
them. Part of my heart is in Louisiana with you being from,
Sure.
living there.
Yep.
We visited there. We
Reggie
got
Bush.
family there. Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
So many different things. So I would love to see
Man.
a home. I'd love to see Houston, New Orleans. That's some old school
That's the
cities.
Hurricane Katrina.
Hurricane Katrina Bowl.
Yeah. Everybody had a lead.
We went on a cruise out of New Orleans.
We
too.
sure did.
We
We sure did.
I remember that.
But I think that'd
did.
be my pick as far as Super Bowl would go. And I think those are all some really good picks.
Those are
But-
good. That's
Something
a good
different.
pick.
We want to see something different, man.
I
I'm
agree.
sorry.
Yeah,
like,
I
where's
agree.
the parity at? Like, that's one thing I liked about the NBA. NBA, there's usually a new finals every year.
Sure.
We haven't seen a dynasty since the Warriors
Right.
dynasty. So
That's
like,
true.
it's just cool to see something different.
Something
Yep.
different.
But speaking
man.
of CJ Stroud, I know we're getting to the next thing. Stroud's reaching a territory to like where like only Mahomes, and you could maybe say I'm gonna say Mahomes is there, where every time they drop back and they're releasing, I know it's
a good decision.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
a completion or something's good is gonna happen like that. I love Lamar, but I can't even say that for Lamar.
No.
Even
be
Josh
scared.
Allen. Josh Allen, man, he's a
Hey,
wild guy.
he's
He-
wild.
He's prone to throw interceptions. So
Yeah.
it's like Stroud is reaching a point where it's like this dude really is a top quarterback in the NFL.
Yes.
I can definitely see that.
Like,
Yeah.
I can definitely see
Bro,
that.
he would have got my vote last year for MVP. I'm sorry.
I mean,
if he was eligible for it,
and
Or
I
if he was
think
a
this
rookie.
year he's
You
1,000% a candidate. This
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
absolutely.
1,000%. Now, remember, this is week 2. So if you watch this later, just remember where we are. This is week 2.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and transition. College football is back. We've always been a family that has been college football based. I know
Absolutely.
me and my heart of hearts, I love the NFL. I appreciate the NFL.
Sure.
But there's just something about that college ball. I know it's not so much an amateur sport anymore, but the bands and the traditions and the cheerleaders and the tailgates and the mascots and, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
College football definitely has a special part, a piece of my heart. But this football season, I want to kind of talk about Colorado and Deion Sanders. As we know, this is year 2. Right now, they're sitting at 1-1. They lost the first week to Nebraska. I'm sorry, they won the first week.
Yeah, South Dakota State.
South Dakota State by the skin of their teeth.
By the skin of their teeth.
It was a tight fought game against the Bison of North Dakota State.
Yeah.
Then they go to Nebraska and they got utterly embarrassed in Nebraska, and then they won against Colorado State this past week. So they're sitting at 2-1. What's your opinion on Deion and what you've been seeing so far this year at Colorado?
Well, I'll tell you what, you got to start with Travis Hunter. Hey, they need to go ahead. If he stays healthy, hand that brother the Heisman.
Yes.
This cat is, I haven't seen anybody play this kind of ball probably since Deion, to be honest with you. Love Travis Hunter. Obviously, you all know I'm not a big fan of Deion. Sure. You know, and the reason why is because he made the comments about how I only recruit quarterbacks from a 2-parent home, and you know, and even C.J. Stroud is not from a 2-parent home. His dad's doing about 50 years in prison right now. Right. You know, then you got Lombards like Lamar Jackson, you know, who didn't come from a 2-parent home. We can go on and on and on about different guys that didn't, and then I only recruit defensive linemen, you know, that come from a single-parent home because they got that dog in them. And then you got guys like Aaron Donald, who is a first-ballot Hall of Famer, played in the NFL from 22 to 32, who came from a 2-parent home, who dad was in his life and had him lifting weights at like 8 months or whatever.
Right.
You know, but at the end of the day, those are my issues with Deion, and then even how he came in there talking about I came with my luggage. It was Louis or something.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Said, I got my luggage.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we'll see how things go with Baylor. They got Baylor this week. So you know,
like they
we'll see
sitting
that.
2-1. Like you said, to piggyback off you really quick, Travis Hunter, 100%, probably the best athlete I've seen in college football since Reggie Bush. As far as just athleticism, you can tell it's just effortless. This dude playing Xbox all night, eating hot Cheetos, and he'll go out there on a Saturday and just have his way. So, I mean, I'm with you on that.
Crazy. How you get 10 catches and then you got 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns? I mean, the dude, he's not human.
It's unreal.
Right.
It's unreal. And he's playing 97% of their snaps right now.
97?
There's an average of like 162 snaps. He's playing like 158. Not even kidding.
Question for y'all. If you're a GM and you draft Travis Hunter, where do you have him play?
Corner.
Man,
I have him go both ways, bro.
he can't.
I would have some.
I have him go both
I would
ways.
have a package for him on third downs, some
See,
second
I would do
downs.
something like that.
But he would be. I think I was telling Ira, he's definitely going to be a quarterback on the defensive side of the ball. That's what I would do.
I would say corner too, and then have him on specials. You returning all my kicks, punt and kickoff return. And then if we do need, you know, I would put out a little, you know,
I got a
system
good
for him.
example. I would use him like how the Chiefs are using Xavier Worthy. Right now, little gadget plays, little reverses, little over routes, little 5 and out bubble, little stuff like that. Take him right out, put him back on defense. I would do things like that. Maybe a deep shot, maybe just because he's good with them one-on-one balls too at the goal line.
No, I'd do the same thing. I'd have like 3, 4, maybe 5 gadget plays for him. You know, let him get out there. You know, get the crowd into it. But I need you on that cornerback locking down. Because a guy like him really takes away a whole side of the field. Like, and he's about 6'2", 6'3", like a Sauce Gardner. He reminds me of Sauce Gardner, lanky frame, but just super athletic, can stay with them.
Better ball skill.
Like what Zay said too, I got you. You punt returner, your kick returning too. Because a guy like him, you have to put the ball in his hands.
Yes,
like him
at least
playing,
2 or 3 times. a game.
Him playing just off defense is crazy because he's such a playmaker and so dynamic. But yeah, man, they got to give him that Heisman. I don't care if Colorado loses the rest of the game.
I don't care if they go 2-10.
Because look, I've been watching college football my whole life, and I haven't seen somebody like you said make it look so effortless. And yes, he's not in the SEC, but he could be anywhere.
He would still do the same.
He could be at Alabama, Florida State, Florida, anywhere, Miami. I feel like he would still be the same type of dog. You can't teach that. So you know, whoever it's gonna be the Travis Hunter sweepstakes come soon. I don't know whoever finishes the top 3, top 4 is gonna pick him up. Of course, you know. Hopefully somebody with a good organization. We don't want him to. Well, Deion already said. Deion said they pick him where he said we doing an Eli Manning. He said he said Shador and Travis. They pick him where they want to go.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, because I get it though. Because like we see Bryce Young right now.
Bryce Young.
He's clearly with a bad organization, and you're killing the kid's confidence that quick with a trash team. I can see if the team's good, ready to go, and he's holding y'all back, bro. He has no time back there. So you know, I can see how a Deion Sanders. And that's where me and you disagree with Dion. Because I love the fact that I'm seeing a black man in his position with his power that can say, hey, my son, he's not going to your team.
Right.
Yeah.
When Eli Manning did that 20-some years ago, people sat back and chilled. When John Elway told the Baltimore Colts, I'm not going to y'all. I'm going to go play for the Yankees.
Yeah.
No one said a word, but now when Dion does it, now it's a problem. So I think seeing a guy like Dion with his money, his status, can be in a position to say, my son, because this has never happened. A black kid, imagine these kids from the hood talking about, my son ain't going there. Them GMs will laugh at you.
They get laughed out.
They'll get laughed out the room,
For real.
out the office.
Yeah.
But the fact that a black man like Deion Sanders, with one of the greatest athletes ever, millions of dollars, everything he's brought to the table, head coach, God-fearing man, for him to sit back and say, my son's not going there, what are y'all going to do? And teams going to say, man, he's not going here. We got to figure out a trade. I think it's empowering.
Yeah,
that's gonna
I think
be
it is.
Yeah.
Because I'd be hot if Shador Sanders ends up in a Carolina situation, a Bryce Young situation.
Yeah,
that
Because
would be
bro,
unfortunate.
me and Iro used to watch Bryce Young with Jahmyr Gibbs and everybody, bro. Bryce Young was solid.
Yeah.
Like can't take anything away from him.
Him
but
going number one isn't crazy.
It's
Like,
not crazy.
At the time, it
It's
wasn't
not like a
crazy
big
thought.
deal.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's the organization you go to when you're number one.
Right.
That's what
And
what
push
I'm
Shador
like,
with
nah.
that. Push Shador with that Panthers line right now. It'll look the same.
Yeah.
Because Shador's not the best athlete ever, and that
not,
O line
right.
sucks. So
Yeah.
Shador gonna be running for his life, getting hit,
Right.
just like we saw Caleb Williams on Sunday. So
Yeah.
I can see how Deion Sanders can say, "I'm not doing that," because with Eli Manning, they saw what happened with Ryan Leaf and the San Diego Chargers. So what's his name? What's the dad's name?
Archie.
Archie Manning was like, "No, I'm not sending my son to how y'all did Ryan Leaf.
Yeah.
I'm not sending him. I'm sending New York, and he's gonna ball out." And guess what happened? 2 Super Bowls later, played a great career, Hall of Fame career.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I can see where Deion's coming from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
It's gonna be
I get
interesting.
It's gonna be real interesting. We're wishing Colorado the best, though.
Yeah.
Most
just-
definitely, I love watching them
For
boys
real.
play.
Yeah.
Man. It's
Like
Like
entertaining.
even Jimmy
Yeah,
Horn
we do.
Jr. He's a slot receiver.
They got-
His dad's locked up.
They got linebackers.
Shout out to that kid.
They got linebacker
Yeah.
last name Bentley, another dude 20 and 41. Them backers are good.
They're
Yeah.
brothers, aren't they?
I don't know if I don't think they're brothers, but them backers
They're
are good.
good.
They got athletes, man, at Colorado. So
They
I
do.
hope they win Saturday.
yeah,
do.
Baylor.
I'm going for 'em.
I'm watching that
Going
game.
against the
Going
Baylor
for 'em.
Bears.
Can't wait.
Speaking of Saturday, just this morning, Arch Manning got named the starting quarterback over at Texas. Now, he didn't get named over Quinn Ewers. Quinn is actually hurt right now.
Oh, is he?
He's got an oblique situation.
Ooh.
And I don't know if you saw, but Arch Manning got in there and he was responsible for 5 touchdowns this past night. Threw
didn't
4
see
and
that.
ran 1.
Wow.
And balled out. Crazy speed. I don't know if y'all saw, but he ran his 50
long run?
56-yard touchdown was 21 miles an hour at the top speed, which
Oh,
was
wow.
faster
My God.
than Tyreek Hill's top speed this past Sunday.
He did. Wow.
Of course, they're making that a big deal,
Wow.
because we all know Tyreek's probably the fastest man in the world.
Yeah.
And he probably was jogging when they clocked him on that 21 or 20
Right.
miles an hour.
Yeah.
But Arch Manning went out there and destroyed. Now, they played UTSA.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
They
University
didn't
of
play.
Texas, San
They
Antonio.
didn't play Miami. It was UTSA.
Right.
Definitely a weaker team, if you will. But Quinn Ewers, who's the starting quarterback for Texas Longhorns, goes out there, gets hurt in the first quarter. Arch Manning comes in when they're already winning 14-0, and kills it. He looked great. He looks like Peyton when he throws, but he can run. Which
Yeah,
is
like Cooper, like the
his,
brothers.
his father.
And
is
he was
Cooper.
a highly touted receiver.
Was,
Now, of course,
yeah.
he had like some sickness, stuff like that.
He
Couldn't get to the
did.
Yeah,
NFL.
he had an injury or
But
something.
or injury. People forget about like Cooper Manning was the number
He was
one
nice.
receiver in the country.
Yeah, he was cold.
Yeah.
He got them genes from him because we saw Eli and Peyton, them boys pulling
Boys pulling
trains.
Man,
trains.
what? I
They
think
couldn't
my
move.
daughter Jada can outrun
Yeah.
Peyton and Eli. And
I think they top speed 6 miles per hour.
Right.
For real.
Right.
And so, but to see Arch,
Man.
so he is the starting quarterback this year. This week they're playing against Louisiana Monroe.
Oh,
So he should
Lord.
probably have another
ULM.
5.
Yeah.
Gonna go off.
But the reason why I bring it up is because I feel bad for the guy Quinn Ewers, right? So he started his career at Ohio State. He left Texas high school early, went to Ohio State, didn't play it down there, transfers to Texas, has a really good year last year.
Oh, absolutely he did.
This year was a Heisman favorite, gets injured, and I was, on ESPN, they're blowing it up saying that if Arch kills it again this week, do you leave Arch as the guy or do you bring Quinn back to take back his position? If you guys were the head coach, what do you think you would do if you were Steve Sarkisian in this point?
I'm bringing Quinn back. I'm gonna let him get his footing a little bit. I don't know who they come back and play against, but
They have a really weak
They
schedule.
have a weak schedule.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he got some college football playoff experience too. So I'm rocking with that for sure.
Yeah, same here.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm rocking
I'm
with
giving him
Quinn.
his job
Man,
back.
I'm going with Arch.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, if Arch, I think you got to go with whoever puts you in the best position to win.
Whoever's hot.
And Quinn's nice though.
Yeah,
I'm not knocking anything he's done thus far. Last year he had a great season, and of course this year he obviously haven't played anybody.
Right.
But I think everybody, for the most part, they ready to see Arch.
Man, I think
everybody
because
is.
of the, I think because
He a
of the
fan favorite.
legacy and the blood trail. You know,
Yeah.
I watched his grandfather play, his dad, his uncle.
Yeah.
You know, and now to see him doing what he's doing, I'm sticking with Arch.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm gonna go with Quinn because I watched them boys beat the dog crap out of Michigan a couple weeks ago. Like blew Michigan out.
Yep.
But at the same time, though,
Quinn went off,
yeah,
bro.
he
Quinn,
went off.
he
had a
did
really
But
good
one
game.
thing, if I am Steve Sarkisian, I am gonna have you on a short leash. If you out there a couple picks, you know,
Same.
confidence riled up, whatever else, we got a guy on the bench that can rally the troops. So
And guess who they come back and play that week? He's supposed to be back is Mississippi State or Oklahoma, and then after that Georgia.
so
So
they
either
go-
one of
That
those
OU
weeks he
game's
comes
gonna be
back,
big.
he gonna come into
Oh,
some hot
and
stuff.
that
so,
Red River game is gonna be big.
Yeah.
Quinn
They
gotta-
play Oklahoma.
Quinn has to go dumb.
October 12th, and then they play Mississippi State the 28th.
Dang.
Yeah,
so
Quinn
after this
has to
ULM
go
game, you got to come back against Mississippi State, and they ain't no slouch.
You can't take any
You can't
points
take
off.
SEC.
It's SEC.
Oh.
It's SEC.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. The reason why I bring up this whole topic was because I have never seen 80,000 plus people start cheering when the starting quarterback gets hurt. He gets hurt, he goes down, and then Arch, when they pan the camera to Arch and he starts warming up on the sideline, I've never seen so many cowboy hats and boots jump up out the seats, and they are going nuts for Arch to get in there. Of course, the camera goes to his dad and his mom, and
And he redshirted last year, correct?
he did
He
not.
did. He
did
Did he?
not.
Yeah,
Really?
he's a true sophomore.
Okay, so he's
Wow.
he's true.
He's true
so,
sophomore.
So he ends up getting in the game, killing it, doing his thing. Now they're talking about, well, Quinn gonna have to fight for his job back. I think that those people are overreacting. I think Arch is a great backup this year for Quinn. He's a senior. He's getting up out of here. He's gonna be a top 5 draft pick. It should be him and Shador going 1-2 quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't know which way yet. I don't know if
Right.
Shador's gonna be one or
Right.
whatever it may be, but
Right.
he's definitely a top 2 quarterback. I think it's his team. He's the leader. Now, but I will agree with what Ira said.
Short leash.
One too many 3 and outs, brother. They might be warming up 16 on the
Especially,
sideline.
especially when they play OU in that neutral site.
Especially
Because we
OU.
saw what happened with Caleb Williams and
Rattler.
Spencer Rattler.
Of course, I was Oklahoma.
I was just about to bring that
but
up.
I'm saying though, that's
Yeah.
what happens once the crowd's going to get impatient.
Yeah.
Especially after we saw what Arch can do.
Yeah.
So and Quinn knows that.
Yeah.
He's good. So
knows.
he knows. Come playoff time too. They're gonna meet against the big dogs, Georgia, whoever else.
Yeah.
SEC championship time. You on a short leash, you throw a pick, a couple 3 and outs, man. You're gonna be on the sideline bringing Arch's Gatorade.
He got
That's just what it
Yeah.
is.
He gonna have them rules like Denzel had on Remember the Titans. Remember they said you lose a game, you lose your job.
You lose your job.
Yeah, he gonna have that. He gonna have that kind of
Right.
leash on him.
Right.
So,
Real.
Right.
we'll see how that ends up. But I'm rooting for Arch. I'm excited for next year.
Yeah, I'm
to
still
see
rooting
him.
for him. Yeah.
for sure. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see him go out there. It'll feel right to have another Manning in the NFL. 'Cause,
Yeah.
It would.
You grew up with
Oh,
one.
man.
We grew up with 2 of
Yeah,
them.
2 of them.
And then now
Yeah, 3.
to see a third generation.
That'd be crazy.
I mean, it's nuts.
That'd be crazy.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
So
It would.
I hate Texas, but whatever. We just want to mention that. We're gonna go ahead and let's transition to the next topic. Since we have not been shooting this podcast, a lot of things have been happening in the world, in particular in the USA. As you all know, we are in the middle of an entire election, trying to figure out who our next president is going to be for this nation. Obviously, Joe Biden has been at the helm the last 4 years, and since we've had this podcast, he has decided to go ahead and drop out of the race and go ahead and let his vice president, Kamala Harris, go ahead and run in his stead. Before we even get into what's going on with the race right now, do you guys think that Joe Biden made the right decision to get out while he was ahead, if you will?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, he's going to be 81 this year.
Right.
And obviously we all can see, and I said it probably weeks before he bowed out. I made a comment on Sunday morning that we got a president with a touch of Parkinson's and dementia.
Just a tad.
And
yeah.
I didn't know 2-3 weeks later that he would actually, step down. And I think that was a great move, that he stepped down, because I don't believe, he's going to be 81, needs to go, hang out in the rocking chair.
Yeah, go
And
chill.
hang out with his grandkids and great grandkids. That's my 2 cents on that.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I ain't
Yeah,
got nothing to say.
100%.
I'm glad he shut it down.
Yeah,
because
I'm
it
glad.
was
It was bad. It was
getting
low-key
embarrassing.
embarrassing.
It was
It
like I was getting
was.
secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah.
it
It was getting
was.
bad.
At
He
what
falling
point-
off bicycles.
I was gonna say
He
at
fell
what
down the stairs on the plane. Remember that?
Yeah.
going up.
Going up. Yeah.
I think around that time was when we kind of knew. At least for me, when I saw him fall off that bike, I said, "Man, you know, first of all, it's sad to see any old person fall and hurt
It is.
themselves. You know, it's like, dang, that's too bad.
Yeah.
But to be the leader of a nation, I'm thinking about somebody strong, somebody with confidence, somebody that
Right.
can, you know, put a sentence together, if you will.
Right.
And when we saw that start to diminish, that's when I knew it might be
Yeah.
time. So when he made that decision, I agree with y'all, all of y'all.
Yeah.
I think it was best for him and his family and this nation to go ahead.
Sure.
Let me go ahead and enjoy my latter days, because we don't know how much longer this brother got.
Yeah.
We proclaim long life.
Sure.
You know,
Right.
I
All
hope
that.
I hope he lives to 1,000. But we all
Right.
know
Hey.
2 things we guaranteed in this world:
Uh-huh.
we're gonna be born,
Right.
we're gonna die.
You better
I
believe
mean,
it.
outside
That's
of that,
real
that's just how it is.
Yeah.
So now that Kamala and Donald Trump are running against each other, another thing that happened that we haven't been able to address. There was an actual assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life.
Wow.
Now, obviously, it didn't work. This guy obviously had 2 left eyes. I don't
Yeah.
know what it was. He wasn't far away. He ends up missing Donald Trump by literally a couple centimeters.
Wow.
And, you know, he ends up living, and he's, you know, still here. He was doing a rally just yesterday. What was y'all thoughts on the assassination attempt when it all went down?
Inside job.
You thought it was an inside job?
Yeah, most definitely.
My God.
Yeah.
Well, I was taken back, by the whole thing, obviously, but mental illness is at an all-time high. We got some people out here that are just got not rap tight.
Right.
And obviously, a lot of people obviously don't care for Donald Trump.
Sure.
But, he didn't deserve to be shot at like that. I mean, I just thought that was just over the top. And I'm glad that person who, did that, they're no longer here anymore.
Yeah, they're with the Lord.
Hey,
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
So
We don't know that, brother.
His last moments wasn't the best.
Right all. Ecclesiastes 3 says there's a time to heal and a time to kill. And obviously, with him doing that there, that was a time to kill.
Sure.
And so, and I'm glad Trump is still with us. I mean, because I would never want to see anybody, die like that. That's just
Because when did JFK get assassinated? What year was-
63.
So you weren't obviously you
No,
weren't even
I wasn't
here.
even born.
Dang.
Yeah,
So
1963.
you haven't really seen any
in
assassinations.
Dallas, Texas. I saw one attempt before this was a guy by the name of Ronald Reagan.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, Reagan,
I was
yeah.
in probably 2nd grade at the time, when he, and John Hinckley Jr., the gentleman who shot him, is actually out of prison finally.
What?
Yeah, yeah. They put him in prison, then he was in a mental institution, but now he's free. You can Google it. John Hinckley Jr.
Wow, he lived
That
right on the
happened.
end of your block. Just chilling. That's crazy.
That was an 80, man. Ooh, that might have been 81.
Okay.
Okay.
So you were a kid.
Probably 80, 81.
Got
Yeah,
you.
when that happened.
Got you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Ira, you had an opinion on the the Trump situation, the assassination. How did it make you feel?
Man, it's just crazy to see that happen in real time because fortunately, not fortunately, but in my life, I would always wonder like what crazy events that I would witness. Of course, 9/11 happened. I was too young to remember. I was 2 years old.
Right.
But between the pandemic and potentially a president getting assassinated, was like that's crazy. If I would have saw both
Right.
of these things, happen, especially in a 4-year window
Yeah.
of
Right.
a pandemic and a president being assassinated, or a president candidate. Well, of course, he was a former president, but
Right.
I feel you though, Dad. I don't want to see nobody go out like that. Because one thing about have your opinions on Trump,
Sure.
have your opinions on Kamala, whoever else.
Right.
You can't bounce back from death.
You're right.
If
That's
you
real.
if you die, there's no comeback story to
Yeah.
death. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
of course they had to do what they had to do. Secret Service had to they Swiss cheese my dude on top of the thing trying
Yeah,
to shoot
they
at
did.
Trump. And you're right though, Zay, old boy got 2 left eyes. I don't know what it is, man.
Man.
He
was
can't.
close.
Yeah, he was shooting like
They said
Shaq
he
at
was
the
like-
free throw line.
Oh,
He was close, but it's like, bro,
Yeah.
you right there. I've seen videos. I've seen clear videos of people showing him and like,
so
Yeah.
it's like,
like
man,
showing
you
him
weren't
laying
even
down.
like super far. You
Yeah.
know, you
Yeah.
got other guys.
Apparently, he was only like 40 meters away. 30
Yeah,
meters away.
exactly.
Yeah, wasn't that far.
Insane.
Because what was his name? Was it Lee Harvey Oswald that
Yep.
killed JFK?
Yeah.
Like that dude, that was a shot. Like
Yeah.
that dude was up top in a building, way far out, and still got that shot off on JFK, going down in a moving vehicle too.
In a
Trump was
moving-
stationary.
Yeah.
Like in a moving car.
In a moving whip,
So
yeah.
clearly, old boy wasn't the best shot in the world, and it just would have been crazy to see how the news and media outlets and how the world would have reacted to a president candidate and a former president being assassinated. I just couldn't imagine how much it would just shake up
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
only American politics but just the world news in general.
Yeah.
I think the world in general would have been shook up if that was the case.
Yeah.
But
And then you put Kamala in there. Did they have to find another candidate?
They gotta
get
Oh,
another
you gotta
candidate.
get another
You gotta-
Republican.
I forgot what's
Yeah.
his name. Vance. Is Vance is
It would
his
be
vice
Vance.
president?
I thought it was
That-
Beto, no?
No, it's
Vance.
Vance.
Oh, yeah,
Vance.
the
Vance.
guy that
Yeah.
co-signed with him.
So he would probably jump up in that spot. So we would literally see two
Wow.
vice presidents going at it for
That's
presidency.
crazy.
Which is nuts.
Wow.
Yeah.
And of course, then Vance would have to get a running mate as well. So
Right.
it would have just shook up
Oh,
everything.
man.
It'd have been like
Man.
musical chairs.
Literally,
Like we
so-
just trying to figure it all
That would have
out.
been crazy.
And it just, wouldn't have been the best look for America because America, we're not as strong as we, have been.
Right.
Our foundations was built up on. It's
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
more loose. We're
Very.
more prone to bend now.
We are.
But
Yep.
it is what it is, man. November 2nd, all these dates will be here soon, and we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah.
That lady who ran the Secret Service, she resigned after they were like interrogating her and stuff and questioning her. It's all on TV. You can watch it. I forget what it's called, but like, they go before Congress. I believe it's almost like a courtroom setting. She was like, I'm not answering those questions. I'm not answering those questions. The next day after that, resigned.
Dang.
So I think there's a little fishy, but I don't want to get too much into it. I don't want to take up nobody's time.
I
You
mean,
got-
I feel
Yeah.
like the whole situation in itself is
weird.
crazy, and it's a blessing that like you said, we don't ever want to see nobody go
Yeah,
out like that.
right.
Yeah.
Seeing anybody, that's somebody's grandpa, that's somebody's
Exactly.
dad.
Right.
Right.
So whatever your opinion is,
Sure.
I don't think anybody deserves to die.
Right.
Outside of one group, but we won't even go there. And when I say that, I'm talking about pedophiles.
Sure.
I look at people
Oh,
like that.
yeah,
and
yeah.
I have that
They-
group of people in a
they
different part of
deserve
hell
death.
in my head.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I'm with you on that.
But
Absolutely.
But outside of that, politics is politics.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to be a Catholic, be a Catholic.
Sure.
You want to be a Buddhist, go ahead, do what you want to
Exactly.
do. I don't think you deserve to die.
Right.
Right.
I think that's the only group that deserves to.
Listen,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
And I don't apologize for that.
And me either.
I think that's just what it is. But
That's good.
if you guys can fast forward, November 2nd is election day, and that's when we're going to find out who the next president of the United States is. Who do y'all think's name is going to get called on that day?
Man.
Because right now it's a tight race, in my opinion, and we don't know what's going to transpire in these
Yeah.
next, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So what do y'all think?
I think it's definitely going to be a tight race. I think Trump gets the nod.
Okay.
I think he gets the nod. I might have some people cast stones at me,
Yep.
but I just can't see white America allowing this lady to make that transition, even though she's definitely got a shot.
Absolutely.
People are rallying behind her.
Yeah.
And if there was a time for it to happen, it's now. 'Cause we live in some different. Barack had an 8-year run.
Yep.
We never saw that. Our nation is a little under 13% black.
Right.
So we obviously weren't the ones that put him in office.
Sure.
The white people, they still make this world go round and round, especially here in the United States of America. But I've been caught off guard by a couple of things over the last probably 10 years that they're allowing us to play quarterback now, finally.
They are. We more than half the NFL.
Yeah,
dang
out
near.
of 32 teams, was it 15?
15.
When I was growing up, there was one,
Yeah.
two at the most. There was a guy named Doug Williams. Then you had a guy named Evans. He played for the Bears. He had a pretty decent career there.
Right.
Vince Evans was his name. If you ever
Gotcha.
get a chance to Google him, Vince Evans. And then you had Doug Williams. So now to see 15 quarterbacks these last couple of weeks, and then of course Barack Obama having an 8-year run, so there's definitely been a shift in our nation, and whatnot. So so if there ever was a time, Kamala could win, But I don't think that's going to happen. In my personal opinion, I think Trump's going to probably potentially win.
Go ahead. So you say Trump prevails?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, I think if I can fast forward, I would say Trump will probably win. Yeah. I don't know. That's all I gotta say.
I feel you.
I don't like talking too much about it.
What
I can't really call it, honestly. It's gonna be a super tight race.
Very.
But I think the powers that be, the real powers that be, I don't think that they like the fact of how Trump marches to his own drum. I don't think they put him back in there.
Wow.
I think Kamala's the president.
Presidents are puppets at the end of the day.
because I feel like that's the thing, man. They like to control.
Yeah.
And I feel like she'll probably be easier to control.
And I 100% agree with Ira. I think that it is crazy to see that. I never thought in my lifetime we would see a female president, just based off of how I grew up in the '90s and how this is a man's world, if you will.
Sure.
We run the commissioner in NFL has always been a man. The head of our principals growing up were always men. You know, what schools I went to and things of that nature. And so to see, that she actually has a chance, and I think that she will prevail in this sense, because I think, like Ira said, I think they saw how Trump was when he was in office and how rogue it felt as a country. And then, of course, the pandemic struck, and then you had him telling us that the Tiki Torch whites were good people, in that crowd. There were some good people out there. I heard what he meant.
Yeah.
I know what he meant. Like,
Jesus.
out of 1,000 people, there was 20 Tiki Torch people, saying the N-word, and there was probably like 5 that were like in the crowd, like, come on, man, like we don't need it, man. We don't need no Tiki Torches, Kind of like what R. Kelly said, "Oh, not all type people," It's kind of like that situation, right?
Yeah.
I get what he was saying, but you can't say that because right away people automatically they can take your words and twist it and say whatever it may be. So that kind of left a lot of people a black eye when it came to their view on him. But I think that the Supreme Court and the Electoral College and all the people that are involved when it comes to the elections, they're saying, who can we control the best? Who's somebody that we can tell them what to say, when to say it, how to say it, and they're gonna do it.
My God.
It's Kamala Harris. Donald Trump marches at the beat of his own drum.
Sure.
And,
you got a good point.
And even though sometimes he be saying some real stuff, he be keeping it real. You know what I mean?
Sad.
I just think that right now in our country, the Electoral College and all the people of the Supreme Court and all the people that have the real votes, if you will, they're saying keep Kamala in there because she gonna listen.
Yeah, and we saw what happened in the 2020 election. Remember, he said that they got they stopped the count. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then he's like, recount the votes. Then
Turn the machines
then
back on.
You was finding ballots in the Mississippi. You was finding ballots in the garbage cans.
Bad.
You know what I mean?
It was bad.
And that was after the
My
pandemic. Of course, the whole George Floyd gets murdered. Then it turns into if you loot, we shoot. A lot of the
That was
crazy.
crazy.
A lot of black people. We didn't like how that was going. How he was going marching about the whole thing. Then you got the January 6th insurrectionists. We got literally a coup happen.
Right.
This hasn't happened in I don't know how many years, but the Capitol thing pops off. So I feel like it's a you can say it can be a threat to democracy. A lot of people feel like that, and I feel like the big wigs up top, the suits, they would rather have somebody who they can like I said they can control.
Yep.
And so I feel like either way it goes, we'll be fine because And
basically,
and Dad, you preached on it too about how God elects who is
Yep.
in those positions, so
Yep.
it's not really on us. Of course you got the you got people up top that make those decisions.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, light's still gonna turn red, green, yellow.
Yep.
You know
Yep.
what I mean? We still gotta get stuff done on
That's
our
right.
own part. I just don't like how some people make politics just like such. It's like a gang now. It's like gang culture.
Yeah.
It's like Bloods and
Oh my
Crips.
God.
It's like, man, we can have different views on politics. We can still get a drink. We
There's
can still break
people
bread.
ready to fight
Literally.
for
Like,
their whole entire.
it's like,
I got family members ready.
Yeah.
They ready to square up
It's
behind
like-
this
it's like,
whole
come on,
Kamala and Trump.
I'm being real. I think this.
I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
I
And
think
it's-
this whole thing's a joke, bro.
I
To
mean,
be
the whole-
honest,
the
there's
whole-
no such thing as leadership
The
no more.
whole
It's who
thing
they
is
can control
it's-
the easiest.
Absolutely,
It's ridiculous.
It's dividing. It's the division,
Yeah.
and you can feel the tension. I
can.
I feel like when I'm in a line at the store, I know people looking at me like I know he's blue, and I'm like, wait a minute, you don't know what I am.
Yeah, I'm black.
I'm actually black. I'm like, wait a minute. You
Wow.
can feel the tension.
Dang.
But
You look, he can though.
I'll explain,
can.
and
Yeah.
just
That's
really quick
good.
to be brief to kind of give you an example of why I think they're going to go Kamala. I have 2 daughters. I have a 6-year-old named Layla. I have a 4-year-old named Jada. I love them both with my full heart. I would vote for my daughter Layla to be the president because I feel like she's trustworthy and she's more even keeled, has a head on her shoulders, and she's gonna listen to what I say. Now Jada Boo,
Got it.
I love her,
Rogue.
but she's a little fireball.
That's a
She's
great
little out of
example.
control.
Marcus her own beat.
I sleep.
Yeah.
I would sleep better at night knowing that Layla is ahead of the country and instead of Jada,
That's a
because
good
I know
example.
Layla's gonna hear me out, listen, and really take in my opinion and do. Jada's gonna do what she want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I think that's the way the
that doesn't
electoral
mean,
college.
and that doesn't mean Jada doesn't have good views.
I know,
that doesn't mean that
exactly.
Jada, can't get her points across and have things that that has
Exactly.
characteristics to her that can make the household better.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like
Right.
you said, at the end of the day, you would sleep better at night knowing that you have someone
Yup.
who is way less of a fire hazard.
100%.
Yeah.
And guess what? It makes sense.
And I think that's why I think that's why the electoral college and the suits and the people up
Yeah.
top think that's why they're going to be the ones that are going to push this Harris bill through
Wow.
because it's like I can sleep better at night having her as president.
Yeah.
Where Trump, we watching his tweets.
Yeah.
Where's he at today? Well,
Yeah.
what he got in a fight on the golf course. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Right.
they're thinking about stuff like that, and that's why I think that's going to end up being it's about control.
I tell you what, if she wins, I mean, that's going to be huge. Just because, first of all, she's a woman.
Yeah.
And she's a non-white person.
Correct.
I mean, so there's a lot of factors there,
Yeah.
that she's not white and she's a woman. So it's really going to be interesting. That's why I said it's going to be a tight race.
It's going to be tight.
We're gonna see how this thing shakes out. But I did quote a scripture as Ira shared out of Romans 13:1. You get an opportunity to check it out. It talks about how all authorities that exist come from God. So obviously, man has his hand in it, but God also has his hand in it as well. So
Yep.
when it's all said and done, you get a chance to read that Romans 13:1. It says all authorities exist from God. So we'll
Yeah.
see how this thing shakes out.
Yeah.
November the 2nd is coming. It'll be here quick.
It is.
I think we're less than 8 weeks away today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because October 2nd is coming here real quick.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Real
Yeah,
quick.
so-
So we'll see on that day comes. I'm sure this won't be the last time we touch on the topic because something going to jump off in the next coming weeks, I'm sure, before Election Day does come. Really quick, as we transition over, Puff Daddy Combs, Diddy,
Oh, Lord.
Sean Combs, whatever
My
you want to
God.
call
Brother
him.
Love.
Brother Love, whatever you want to call him, has got himself into a lot of trouble. Racketeering charges. He was raided just the other day. He's got caught with guns in his home, narcotics. 1,000 plus bottles of baby oil were found
saw that.
on the premises,
Lord
and
Jesus.
other sexual things that were found as well. So right now he's in jail. His bail was denied. I believe it was $500 million, or not 500 million, $50 million. 500 would be crazy. $50 million. The bail was denied. I believe they denied his bail twice. And they're saying they have thousands and thousands of hours of footage
Yeah.
that were inside of his home.
Right.
Things called freak-offs
Yeah.
were happening, which was hilarious for me to hear because I've never
Freak-offs.
heard of a freak-off party.
My
You know,
God.
I think in my head I called it something else maybe, but a freak-off,
A turn up.
a turn up, yeah, kickback,
Kickback.
house party,
Right.
But a
Yeah.
freak-off is
freak-off.
something that.
And somebody said they said it's a RICO charge, it's a FRICO charge. He the first one to get a FRICO.
He got a FRICO
Jesus.
charge, and the whole situation is crazy. I know we're still getting information as the days go on because it's still fairly new. I walked into the office today, and in my head, I'm thinking, man, why did they arrest him? Because once again, this is before I knew any of the information. All the females here at our staff let me know exactly what it was all about, because I thought this brother just got arrested for having 1,000 bottles of baby oil and some casual butt sex with his buddies.
Jesus
Which
Christ.
is not against the law. That's
Yeah.
what you're into.
Nah.
It's not against the law. But that's what I thought it was about. But when they began to mention the different charges and the things that he was involved in, it's starting to look like he's an evil man. in his own regard. What's y'all opinion on the whole situation, and do you think the arrest is justified?
Oh, it's justified. They got footage all the way from 2008. And you guys have heard me say this time and time again. I believe God will tolerate your weakness, but he's not going to tolerate your wickedness. And, Numbers 32:23 says your sin will surely find you out. And I think just because he's been over the top, I mean, he's a billionaire. And some of these guys think that they're invincible.
Yep.
And I've said it for years, success is killing people because money gives you options. Now you got 1,000 bottle of baby oil laying around your house. And, we know you ain't using that to put on your skin.
No.
You know what I'm saying? You're using that for
somebody else's.
Yeah. But nevertheless, it's so disappointing. Because there was a time where he was considered a trailblazer and he was doing great things in the music industry and putting people on. And I just think that, he's been overtaken by a demonic and satanic spirit to the point to where, they're doing gross and stuff that's an abomination.
Right.
And then you're drugging people, and then keeping people for 2-3 days, and whatnot, and then putting IVs in them to bring them back. I mean, these are some of the things that are being speculated, and they got film, supposedly.
Yeah, footage.
And for the feds to come get you, they said they have a 96 to 98% ratio where once they get you,
it's a wrap.
The jig is up. So that's my 2 cents on that. He's going to probably do more time than R. Kelly, and I think R. Kelly's doing 30, so they're going to give P. Diddy about 40, 50.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I couldn't agree more. I think simply that's what it is, dude. And people are forgetting all the illegal weapons he had too. That's gonna add time.
And then they just find drugs too.
Yeah,
they
found
did.
drugs.
They
found defaced AR-15s, which means you can click them to automatic, and the barrel's shorter, which makes more impact bullet velocity. He had 50-round drum mags. Drum mags are illegal. You can't go to the gun store and buy those. So he's got a whole bunch of other stuff too.
I think Brother Love will have his. I think he'll have his day in court.
I mean, he will.
That's the beauty of being American, man.
He will.
You got the money to fight.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the beauty of being in America. Other countries, man, they ain't no due process, ain't no nothing, ain't no right to an attorney. They don't care. They just gonna do what they're gonna do. But I feel like in America, especially with him having as much money as he has, I think he doesn't do as much time as we think he'll do. I think he'll do time. But I feel like, it's just hard to these people that got billions of dollars and stuff, it's just so hard to just put them away. Like R. Kelly was broke.
Yeah.
If R. Kelly had money, I think I wouldn't say he'd be out right now, but he'd probably be out in a couple of years. But the fact that R. Kelly was literally, his net worth was in the negatives by the time he got locked up, that's why he's in there till the 2070 Olympic Games. Like, this dude's gone. Like, he's gone for a minute. So I feel like a guy like Diddy, I think with his money and his resources, like, have you seen any of the new stuff he's done? Basically, he's trying to sell a property he has in LA, a house in LA, house in New York. Like, this dude's trying to get all the money.
He sold his plane.
Yeah, he sold his plane. He said he sold shares of Revolt TV a couple months ago so he's getting all the money he can get so he can pay for the lawyers to, do what they got to do. And like I said, he'll have his day in court, and I think that he won't get as much time as we think he'll get.
Yeah. And it's crazy to even think that because, and here's another thing too, the reason why I think it's going to be very interesting to see what time he gets and if he's, obviously we're not going to know for a year plus after he has, the full day in court and, the trial and things of that nature. I'm waiting for interviews of these people to come forth about what he did. I've heard a lot of stuff that was written and people that have just told me, yeah, this one girl said that she went to sleep and woke up and he was standing above her with some type of drug and she passed back out. I'm hearing all these stories.
Right.
I need to hear from these people. Where are these people at? Are these going to be witnesses at the trial? Are these people willing to come forth and talk about it?
But that's the thing, and I feel you on that. But one thing about having money, and Diddy knows. We don't know. We can speculate. He knows what's happened. There's probably been a year and a half, 2 years where he's been preparing. He's been preparing because these people got money, man. They probably definitely put a bug in his ear. Hey, man, I know somebody in the feds. They said they're looking into your stuff. Yeah. He could have been forking out millions to people over these last couple of years. Hey, man, here's 10 million, here's 5 million. Once your stuff hits the fan, I'm gonna need you to go away.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Having this type of money is different. R. Kelly didn't have these resources.
Yeah. Right.
So I feel like if you're a person like Diddy with all this money, you can give people hush money.
Yeah.
And so by the time the trial comes, we're gonna wonder why aren't people hitting the stand?
Where
are all these victims?
Where are all these victims?
But guess what? Them victims is all living up that little $10 million they got 3 years ago. When Diddy first got the drop, that the feds were looking into his stuff. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think he ends up doing more time than R. Kelly, just off the fact that this dude's a multi-millionaire.
Well, another gentleman that got off real good was, of course,
Bill Cosby,
known as Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby.
But what did Bill Cosby have?
Money.
He had that money.
Money.
Dang.
And I will say that Bill was old too, so like he had two things going for him. He had like kind of dementia. I don't know if he was playing it. Remember that dude? Remember he was walking and saying like this?
Yeah, I remember that. He was like,
I was like, man, this dude is fine. But obviously we saw Bill Cosby. He out here, pill popping, giving these ladies, tranquilizing them, if you will, and having his way, which is totally wrong. Then you got guys that are. We had a guy in the NFL that got busted with the same thing. I think he's doing 26 years. Darren Sharper.
Yeah.
Darren Sharper's money is way different than Bill Cosby money.
Yeah.
And they had way two different sentences, lawyers, representatives, things of that nature.
Jeffrey Epstein had a whole bunch of money. Then he's gone now. That's a conspiracy.
I think Epstein was probably on his way towards, maybe getting off or maybe getting a slap on the wrist.
He was going to tell it, bro.
Because he was going to tell.
Yeah.
And, he woke up dead. You know what I'm saying?
They found him hanging, and then they said they had a prisoner guard. They had a guard that was there all night doing surveillance, and he somehow hangs himself, and he's dead.
Yeah.
And the way that they saw that the way that the stuff was hanging, there's no way that he could even did it himself.
Right.
They killed the dude. So
That's why I believe in inside jobs.
Oh, me too,
100%.
That was an inside job.
Sorry,
for sure. They needed him to be quiet.
I may not be right, but that's just my theory.
Yeah.
But he had money. I'm saying I feel like money.
Yeah.
And what did the Bible say? Money answer all
All
things. And if you got money, when it comes down to lawyers, and when it comes to stuff like that, you have a different type of fight with some cheese.
Yeah.
Look at the R. Kelly situation. Look at the Diddy situation. So I can't wait to watch this all play out, see it all unfold.
Yeah, we're gonna see.
Yeah.
And once again, this is us. This just happened a couple of days ago. I don't know all the details. I know nobody here does. Yeah. Obviously, we're not part of the feds, so we don't know. But we definitely gonna see what's going on, and see what the verdict is gonna be for him and his life. And once again, like you said earlier, your sin will surely find you out, and it's looking like it's not looking good for him. That's for sure.
Not at all.
It's not looking good. Anytime they deny your bail and you willing to pay $50,000 to get out, if they denying that means they got some solid evidence.
Absolutely.
So we definitely gonna see and sit around. This won't be the last time we talk about it, I'm sure.
Right.
But it is gonna be interesting to see if some witnesses come forth and some victims coming forth, and kind of like how they did R. Kelly. Remember, R. Kelly had a whole documentary come out on Netflix before his brother was even in jail, of these people not blurring
R. Kelly.
Yep, they not blurring their faces or nothing. They said he did this to my daughter, my daughter, and then whatever the case may be. So we're gonna see if did he do it? Did he do it? We're gonna find out. But
did he not?
To go ahead and wrap up, I know we're already at an hour. I know you had an opportunity to preach this past week out in Dallas, Texas, for one of our good friends. You kind of want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, just briefly, because again, like Zaya just said, we're over an hour. Listen, I want to encourage you to go and watch some of the different things that I've been teaching on. I've been doing a series called "The Tables Are Turning."
Yeah.
And this past week, I talked about how one of the ways you cause the tables to turn in your own life is you got to stay confident, which means to be unfazed. And then also I talked about being confrontational. I was talking about King David, how not only was he confident, because you got to remember, it really wasn't the rock that killed Goliath. It was his confidence. He went into that fight knowing he was going to win. Matter of fact, he said, "This day, I'm going to take your head from you." You read that in 1 Samuel chapter 17, around the 45th verse. So David not only was confident, he was very confrontational, and always believed what you don't confront, you can't conquer. If you want to, for the tables to turn in your life, you got to be confrontational. You got to make adjustments in your life and so on and so forth. And the last thing I talked about was being consistent. So I want to encourage you, stay confident, stay confrontational, and stay consistent. As long as you're consistent, which means you're dependable and reliable, the tables will begin to turn in your life personally.
That's right.
That's
Speaking of being consistent, make sure you go ahead and click that subscribe button and go ahead and subscribe to the Still Strong podcast. The boys, we are back. Every Friday, we'll be in here talking about all the topics that are going on, that we have going on in the world, in America, in sports, and everything like that. So make sure you click that subscribe button. Also, click the notification bell so that way you can get notified every single time a new podcast drops from the boys to you all. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you have the best week of your life. Be safe. Go Steelers.
Go Steelers.